Yeah. How can we not? How can we not go live right now? How can we not go live right now? This is historic, epic event. This is history in the making. We are seeing an all-time high. We don't know how high it's going to go, but Bitcoin has been really flirting with breaking these all-time highs again. I think this is the third day within like 10 days that we've seen an all-time high. Now, keep in mind, the halving isn't even for about a month and about 10 days. We still are not even at the halving yet. So this is wild. This is pretty wild to see Bitcoin right now over 71,000. Broke the last all-time high 3 times, and we're not even at the halving yet. Broke the all-time high, we're not even at the halving yet. Just think about that. So if we're talking about, is there going to be an epic bull run that we have never seen before? All the indicators are saying yes. Like, remember the last bull run, we were in a pandemic. And that may have helped, but I don't think it helped as much as it could have. I think if we weren't in a pandemic, it could have went to 100. Last bull run. Last bull run, we didn't have so much adoption. We definitely didn't have over 10 ETFs. We definitely didn't have that last bull run. We didn't have the utility that countries are now starting to utilize Bitcoin for. We didn't have all the news of Bitcoin mining going on, state-sponsored mining of Bitcoin. We didn't have that. We didn't have so many countries now either accepting it, making it legal tender, or considering it legal tender, or seeing the utility that Bitcoin can do for their economies. I wonder what Nayib Bukele is thinking right now. With all the people, with all the different agencies and countries, the IMF telling him that this is a risky move, it's a bad move for him to make, to accept Bitcoin as legal tender and invest so much of his nation's capital into Bitcoin. And this is exactly, let's get to this thing real quick on Twitter. This is exactly why a lot of these smaller countries that really don't have nothing to lose, like, think about it. Some of these countries that are accepting Bitcoin now, that are mining Bitcoin, that are integrating Bitcoin and other blockchain technology into their financial sector, they're doing it because they're seeing it like we're seeing it. But it's not a risk. If your money is already hyper inflated and you're losing 50%, 100% of your purchasing power, why not Bitcoin? It's peer to peer. A lot of these countries, they're trying, for better or for worse, whether you agree or disagree, they're trying to get away from the US dollar as the reserve currency. A lot of countries have sanctions on them, where other G7, G9 nations aren't doing business with them because they're trying to starve them out economically so that they can have more say so over how they run their country. So they do certain games that they play on the high geopolitical level. And I reported on this on CryptTalk podcast years ago when Venezuela first came out with the idea of having their dollar backed by their petrol reserves and coming out with a petrol cryptocurrency. Of course, that didn't work. But the idea behind it was, hey, if we're being sanctioned and some countries aren't doing business with us and we can't go through the SWIFT messaging system, well, we could do peer-to-peer transactions with crypto. That's exactly, saying why a lot of these countries, a lot of these smaller Central American, South American, Asian, whatever, some of these smaller economies that really don't have anything to lose, well, they're seeing it like, hey, and we're not, we're under sanction, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we could do a peer-to-peer transaction with Bitcoin. Like understand, as this develops and as other countries start to integrate and see the value and utility of blockchain technology. It's going to start with Bitcoin, so it wouldn't exist without it. And they realize that they may have goods and services that they want to sell, but because of sanctions, they can't use the proper standard traditional banking system that's typically utilized internationally, which is the Swift messaging system. Well, they realize, hey, I got oil. Why don't you just send me some Bitcoin to this wallet here, and I'll send you some ships of oil. Like, remember, Russia and Ukraine both funded their conflict with Bitcoin. This is where we're at right now. Let's check out these prices. Go back. Willy Woo, by the way, on Twitter hours ago said this structure has the signs of a full-blown Bitcoin bull run. Price ripping, lots of coins moving on chain, meaning real investors are buying at higher prices, validating it. And we know how many different Bitcoin whales are buying up Bitcoin. We've seen it. The Michael Saylors buying it personally, not just for MicroStrategies. He liquidated, I want to say, $500 million or so of his own personal stocks in order to get Bitcoin for his own personal supply. On top of the fact that his company owns about 200,000 Bitcoin. On top of the fact that you have a dozen ETF suppliers buying up Bitcoin. On top of the fact that you have whole countries mining. I did a story about Russia and Ethiopia making some type of merger or collaboration to build over 100,000 square foot, something like that, Bitcoin mining facility. They're probably up and going by now because they said they're going to be up and going in January. This is just where we're at now, y'all. This is where we're at. $71,000 Bitcoin. Now, I expect there'll be a big sell-off at some point. We don't know how high it's going to go. And I expect at some point, of course, there's going to be a sell-off and, other coins are going to go down. That's a perfect dip buying opportunity. I personally don't really plan on liquidating Bitcoin. Look at those sevens, triple sevens, looking godly. Yeah, I don't really necessarily plan on selling Bitcoin anytime soon. Let's look at this. This thing just shot up. That is a straight rocket to the moon. 1.4 trillion in the market cap. Crazy. Yeah. So of course, as we know, with Bitcoin leading the charge, other coins will follow. I don't even know if we're in full-fledged alt season yet. Speaking of alt season, there are some other coins that I've been looking at as of late. But right now we're going to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at 71,000, y'all. We're not even at the halving yet. We still have over a month before the Bitcoin rewards get cut in half. Let's get into that. Let's get into the story. For those who don't know, for those who don't understand the significance, to those who may have a hard time explaining what the Bitcoin halving is to people that may inquire. I mean, understand the reason why I predicted an easy target of 150,000 within the next year. Meaning by about this time next year, we would have already have seen or will be looking at 150,000 Bitcoin. That's a conservative number when you really look at the historical pattern of having cycles. And especially when you consider that most of the time, if not all the time, when Bitcoin hits the all-time high, it's after the halving. Understand the concept. Let's go ahead and get into the story real quick. Let's get some CryptTalk news. Let's get some blockchain crypto gang slang. Cryptocurrency has captured the imagination of investors, tech enthusiasts, and futurists alike. Bitcoin is the best known, highest valued, and original cryptocurrency. The purpose of Bitcoin is to serve as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Think about what that means. Peer-to-peer Means from person to person, no intermediaries, no one's in the middle of it, no one can stop the transaction. Electronic cash system. That means it's an encrypted currency, all right, cryptocurrency. It also means that within not just being a store of value as Bitcoin is, it's also a payment system in itself. I mean, it's all in one. Bitcoin is a payment system in itself on a peer-to-peer basis. It's not just a store of value, a medium exchange, a currency. It's actually a payment system within itself. It's on a ledger. The purpose of Bitcoin, as I said, blah, blah, blah. One of the most pivotal components of Bitcoin's economy is the roughly quadrennial Bitcoin halving event. This blog post unravels the complexities behind Bitcoin halvings, their frequencies, economic impacts, and the overreaching effects on the cryptocurrency market. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. So, having explained, the Bitcoin network undergoes a halving event approximately every 4 years. It's actually a certain amount of blocks, which usually takes about 4 years for that many blocks to be completed. This pivotal moment is algorithmically controlled and is hard coded into Bitcoin's DNA. But what exactly is this event? Fundamentally, a Bitcoin halving cuts the rewards that miners receive for adding new blocks to the blockchain in half. Initially, miners received 50 Bitcoins per block when the network launched in 2009. After the first halving in 2012, it was reduced to 25, then to 12.5 in 2016, and most recently to 6.25 May 2020. And this reduction occurs every 210,000 blocks are added to the blockchain until the final Bitcoin is mined, estimated to be around about 2,140. So in other words, it becomes more scarce. Less Bitcoin is being entered or created into the circulating supply. Right now, I believe we get about 900 Bitcoins a day that enters the circulating supply. Come April, that will be cut down to 450 Bitcoins per day that will enter the circulating supply. Now, when you compound that with the fact that you have people that are buying much more than 450 Bitcoins in one day. Some of these whales are buying tens of thousands in one day, 1,000 in one day. So what that means is like it's becoming more and more scarce. So if the supply, that the output is going down, being cut in half, you would need the demand to be cut in half for it just to remain stable. If the demand remains the same, then it means it probably will double soon. But I would argue that the demand is actually rising and will continue to rise, because the more this Bitcoin becomes accepted, adopted, integrated, then the more you're going to see these financial institutions like banks that are now campaigning. I believe I shared the story, to be able to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets, and other cryptocurrencies for that matter, on their balance sheets. Meaning they want to use it as store of value. They want to be able to have it. They also want to be able to custody it to their customers. So as you have these financial institutions, these investment vehicles and instruments that are buying up Bitcoin because they want to be able to offer it. They want all of the Bitcoin. I've told you this years ago. They want all of the Bitcoin so that they can control the incoming new financial system. They don't necessarily want it to be a decentralized peer-to-peer. You don't need them. So they want to buy all the Bitcoin, so you will need them. But they're not going to sell it to you. They are only going to issue you an IOU and then pay it in cash. They intend on keeping the Bitcoin, because it's so scarce. That's what you have to understand. Bitcoin is so scarce. There's only 21 million. There's trillions of dollars circulating, but there's only 21 million Bitcoin. So that means over time, this wealth transfer will come down to who got into the crypto market, who owns Bitcoin. Yes, you will be able to make money from the ETFs and other different derivatives, of course, IRAs and other things that they're offering. But you'll still be subject to security breaches, parameters set by the issuer and actual holder of the Bitcoin. You won't have it yourself. So here you see right here is the diagram. Here's like a little chart of the halving, what it looks like. So this next reward cycle will be cut down. That means every block that is mined right now, you get is rewards or adds to the market 6.25. And I won't even say the market because these miners don't necessarily have to put them on the market, but that's how many enters the amount of Bitcoin that exists. So every block, another 6.25 Bitcoin, and every block is about 20 minutes. Well, in April, that gets cut down to 3.125. So this is why around this time, and this is why, like, if people who have been in, and remember, this is only my second halving coming up that I've been involved in Bitcoin. And I didn't time the market perfectly last time. Left a little something on the table that I knew I had to just go ahead and hold it out, thug it out until this particular halving. And because I knew, had the experience of that first cycle, I kind of knew what was going on when Bitcoin was stagnant at 15 and 16,000 for so long. I understood. I just kept stacking, loving the fact that it was only 15 because I knew that this day would come, which is bittersweet. Where we at, Bitcoin? We still up over 70? Let's see. Yeah. We're at 70,000 still, 70,300. So I knew that this day would come. I knew the day would come that every time I buy Bitcoin, I would be getting less sats per dollar. And I knew that the Bitcoin market would also pull up some of the altcoins. And if I was able to get into some of these situations where, I can get a sub $100 million altcoin, I knew that over time. My reasoning was 6 months to a year after the halving when we would start seeing stuff like numbers like this, to be honest with you. I figured we wouldn't see numbers like this until maybe 6 months, maybe a year after halving. I was prepared to hold till mid 2025. Still am. Just getting in position. I've spoke to people, no lie, when Bitcoin was like at 41, 42,000 not too long ago. And they told me they're not messing with Bitcoin because they think, blah, blah, blah. They're not until it drops below 30,000. Like, I've heard people say this to me personally. Not until Bitcoin drops below 30,000. Now, these are people who don't really understand the cycles, that, they're relatively new, whatever the case may be. But, I understand how this halving cycle goes. I pay attention to the news. So I understand that no matter what the naysayers are saying, there are too many people buying, accumulating, setting up themselves, setting up their companies to hold, to offer, to acquire Bitcoin for the numbers not to skyrocket, especially because we're coming up on the halving. It would just be impossible. All the manipulation in the world can't keep Bitcoin down like that. And especially now that we're in a situation that we have so many traditional financial institutions that are now offering Bitcoin. Now now it's not a conflict of interest to try to suppress the market. Yeah, they'll play some fugazi games so they can always cop on the low, but their intentions is to own the majority of the Bitcoin collectively. Then they set the parameters, and now they could just reset the financial system that we're already in and just use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. 71,000, y'all. We're in historic time right now. Let's get back to the halving information, just for those who don't know. So this year's Bitcoin halving is expected to happen in April. The role of mining. Before we understand the impact of halving, we need to address how Bitcoin mining works. Bitcoin mining involves computational power to solve complex mathematical problems. Think of it as a math competition where the winner is rewarded with Bitcoins. Miners are crucial as they validate and secure Bitcoin transactions, maintaining the integrity of the decentralized ledger. So basically, you're using your computer power to solve complicated mathematic equations. And when you do so, you get the right to write the block, the block to the ledger. You get to write this block full of transactions to the ledger, which is called blockchain. And for doing that, not only are you securing the network, but you also get rewarded for that. And the reward, as of now, is 6.25 Bitcoin. Now, a lot of times what people do is they'll have mining pools. So it won't just be one computer. It'll be one computer running a master node and a whole bunch of other computers plugged into it as a mining pool, because together they have a better chance of solving these mathematical equations and being rewarded the Bitcoin. And then the Bitcoin's typically rewarded by how much computational power you put in. So if the computation power so if you have 10% of the computational power of this mining pool, you'll get 10% of the reward. That makes sense? Now, keep in mind, these days, with the difficulty being so high, you have to have some serious, graphic cards and processors, and you have to, and several of them. It's going to take you some money, some energy, resources, et cetera, et cetera. So miners also earn transaction fees on different blockchains called commissions or gas fees. Network users pay miners transaction fees, meaning if you want to send Bitcoin, especially depending on what the market is looking like, if the network's congested, it's going to be more expensive. And miners also get a cut of those fees. So this is why it's decentralized, because you have thousands of miners. No one knows who you are, anonymous, so no one is incentivized to not be right and exact when confirming these transactions. It's not like a bank where maybe they don't like you. Maybe they don't feel like you should be getting this money. Maybe they don't feel like these are the hours of operation. No, this is 24/7. So economic impact. And it also says transaction fees. Yes, most wallets will give you the option. If you want it to be a faster transaction, you can pay more in fees. If you don't mind waiting, you can pay less. And sometimes on some wallets, it's free if you're sending a certain amount, if you don't mind the fact that it may take up to 24 hours. Like Cash App, for instance, does that. And typically Cash App is pretty fast, though. Even if you're sending more than 100 and you don't want to pay any fees, you just put on the 24-hour. And typically it's still going to be there within a couple hours. Anyway, the impact of the halving on the Bitcoin economy is simple. Fewer coins are minted per block, with each halving the rate at which new Bitcoins are generated slows. While this is termed deflationary by casual writers, it is more correctly a disinflation. As an example, the difference between disinflation and deflation is the cost of groceries is current political problem in the cost of groceries. Hold on. Is the cost of groceries is a current political problem in the cost of groceries? Okay, I don't know. So with each halving, the rate at which new Bitcoins are generated slows down. This scarcity can, in theory, create upward pressure on price. This does not necessarily mean the value of Bitcoin will automatically increase with every halving, as other market factors also influence prices. Yeah, it's not guaranteed, but we haven't seen a halving that didn't lead to a higher all-time high. And we have more development than ever going on in cryptocurrency and blockchain. We have a second layer, not only for transactions, the Lightning Network, but we also have a second layer of blockchain and stacks that allows what we didn't have the last halving. and that is Bitcoin NFTs, direct Bitcoin DeFi, staking of the stack coin, which is up, and you get paid back in Bitcoin. You can stack your stacks and get sats. On top of that, NFTs called ordinals. So yeah, man, I did my price prediction, I think January 2nd, and I think I could really stand on those predictions. So upward pressure may result from quadrennial reminder of the economic basis for Bitcoin, which is to say the premise that bypassing financial institutions and government currency is a positive. If that is correct, there's a strong global sentiment in favor of that premise. Now check this out. I like seeing stuff like this. Let me see. I can make this bigger, just so people can have a better understanding of inflation. So in 2012, one Bitcoin would have bought you basically nothing worth of groceries. 2013, it would have almost filled up a cart. 2014, it would have filled up a cart with some spillover bags. 2020, a Bitcoin could buy a Lambo at its peak. I think that's a Lambo. Maybe it's a Ferrari. Whatever. It's a new luxury sports car. Well, where are we at right now? Let's just make sure Bitcoin is still doing what Bitcoin is supposed to be doing. And it is. Bitcoin is still Bitcoining 71,315.85 cents, 42 cents, 85 cents, 350. Yeah, it's going up. It's 71,000, 1.4 trillion market cap. What does that mean? Let's see what that means. Let's see. Biggest. Let me look something up. Bank by market cap. Last time I checked, JP Morgan was at about 513 billion or something like that. There we go. Bam. Let's see. Largest banks. Market cap. Largest banks and bank holding companies by market cap. Here we go. JP Morgan, 542 billion. That's about a third of what Bitcoin is itself. So if that means if you take JP Morgan, Bank of America, ICBC, hell, you can even throw Wells Fargo, Agricultural Bank of China. You can throw all those in the mix. What's that? 6? Yeah. Throw all those in the mix, and Bitcoin got them beat market cap wise. No bank has a bigger market cap than Bitcoin. In fact, to be real with it, Ethereum has a larger market cap than all of them except JP Morgan. That means that decentralized assets, people would rather hold their wealth, their assets, on a decentralized ledger with no central point of authority or failure than in a bank. Keep in mind, we also had the 3 largest bank collapse in U.S. history that happened last year to a tune of $500 billion. And keep in mind that several dozen bank branches from JP Morgan, from Bank of America, from Wells Fargo closed within the last couple of years. Dozens from each of those banks in lieu of online banking. Can't make this stuff up, y'all. This is where we're at right now. Let's get back to the Bitcoin real quick. Let's just look at it. I'm not gonna be on there too long. I just wanted to be part of the documentation of this epic situation that we're seeing, and that is Bitcoin eclipsing another all-time high. Maybe some of you could say that you heard it here first on Blockchain Crypto Gang. Speaking of which, Blockchain Crypto Gang on Facebook. Join it before all the spammers get in there. We're about 500 strong now. You could post questions, you could post stories, if you're a content creator, post that. beware of anything that looks a little shady. I don't really get in there and clean house too much, but you got to use your own discretion. This is why I say you have to understand what Bitcoin is. Once you understand the fundamentals of blockchain, it will be very difficult for someone to be able to fool you. There are so many scams going on right now. I get text messages from quote unquote Coinbase. I get emails. I get phone calls. I've recorded one of them. People calling saying, "Hey, your Coinbase account has been blah blah. Let's try to log in remotely for you, and we're gonna fix this for you." And it's like, man, get out of here. I don't even keep that much on Coinbase. I only keep on Coinbase what I don't want to move because it might be too expensive. So some of my Ethereum tokens I do keep there, and sometimes I'll just run money through there. I'll just use it as a pass through to do simple conversions, et cetera, et cetera. I don't even really use the Coinbase card anymore, even though it does have Bitcoin cashback options, but they cut it from, I think, 2% to like 0.5%. So whatever. Yeah, we might be going to 72, y'all. We might be going to 72. Yeah. Let's see what else here, man. Let's see what's on Twitter for the whole bit for the whole Bitcoin. Here's another one, Snick. I does mess with Snick, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Oh, hold up, let's get over here. I does mess with Snick. Let me sign into my. Can I sign into my CoinMarketCap account or what? So I can go to my watch list. Mm. All right, later for that. Let's get back to Twitter. Yeah. Let's see what's up. Bitcoin's not trending. That's crazy. The latest. Let's see what they're talking about here. 48 seconds. BTC created new history, new bull market. 71. This was 48 seconds ago. Now, keep in mind, Bitcoin's already broke all-time highs in pretty much every other country weeks ago. And look at this, Ethereum. That can't be real. Ethereum's at 4? Okay. That's what they're saying. They're saying Ethereum is at 4,000, so it's getting up to us. Oh, yeah. They both coming up at the same time. Look at this. I haven't even been able. Let me verify this real quick. Let me independently verify the Ethereum numbers. Since Ethereum is one of my. Yeah, that is not lying. It's at 4,000. I think 4,400 was the last all-time high. So when Bitcoin is rocking, altcoins like Ethereum usually starts rocking. And when Ethereum is rocking, it usually leads the charge for other altcoins. So, you should be enjoying this right now. Some of you should be taking profits. Not me yet. Not me quite yet. Because, I feel like we're going to thug this thing out for another year. And maybe I'll take profits here and there off of, what's going on here, man? And maybe I'll take some profits here. Yeah, look at that. We're at 71,000, almost 600, man. We might be going to 75,000. So keep in mind that there are some people who now are at a selling point. Some people, they may have bought several Bitcoins, several hundred Bitcoins at 16,000, and maybe this was their target. So expect to see a sell-off. I don't know how high this is going to go. 17,600 where it's at now. Expect to see a sell-off. Expect to see a dip. Don't panic. Buy it if you can. See, this is why I don't plan on, liquidating pretty much anything yet. I just plan on waiting for a pullback, adding to the bag. I really wish it wouldn't have started running up yet until my next direct deposit, because I've been working 7 days a week. I've been working 7 days a week, getting double time, getting overtime, getting all that time because I understand Bitcoin. This is not financial advice, but I even allocate 35% automatically converts to Bitcoin, along with some stocks I also get with some other percentage, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying everybody should do it. I'm not saying that most people it's not even feasible. But and I used to do 20%, but I understood, about 6 months ago, a little bit more than that, maybe 8 months ago, I was like, man, this halving is coming up. I need to start allocating more, And it's not really about the Bitcoin. I don't really plan on selling it. I might do some CDP situation where I borrow against it because that's not a tax event. But really what I hope is that it will push these altcoins up to the point to where, yeah, can't even say it, But, hopefully it push the altcoins up enough to where, I could do me, is what I'm saying. I like what I do for a living, make good money. It's an important job. It really is. However, you already know. I ain't even got to tell y'all. So let's see what else we got going on here. What else is popping? Dogecoin's at 17 cents. Let's just go ahead and get to the cryptos, man. Let's see what else we got popping in the crypto world. Let's see if Bitcoin is affecting any of these other ones. I don't know if it is right now. I don't know if it will immediately pull things up. Solana, ooh, I lie. BNB, the place to be. I do have a BNB. Do have some BNB tokens, small market cap projects. I do have Solana staking, Solana liquidity providing in Radium Exchange, and I also have Solana staking. I also have several Solana projects and even meme coins. Right. And it is up 13%. XRP is just not what's up, XRP? What are we doing? What are we waiting for, XRP? Cardano also down. Good opportunity. If you believe, like I believe, that Cardano will do well, as I believe it will, and as a couple of the meme coins that I have of Solana are doing extremely well, it might be a good time to buy that Solana, or that Cardano. Dogecoin up 6%. Now keep in mind, it's still far from the last all-time high. If you bought Dogecoin when it was peaking, you're probably still in the red. Same with Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu is at 20 billion market cap. It has to double from here to get to the last all-time high. That's not a bad proposition, actually. That's not a bad proposition. To see it double from here, definitely. Up 29% on the 7-day. Avalanche. A lot of talk about Avalanche. I have a little Avalanche. Polkadot. Chainlink. Chainlink is up past $20. And last time Chainlink got to about 50. I did pretty well on Chainlink last time. Polygon, which is a second layer Ethereum. Yeah, I projected that Polygon would do very well, that we can get to 100 million in the market cap, which would be just less than a 10x from here. I still believe that will happen. It's up 10% for the 7-day. It's doing pretty good. Tron is not even worth mentioning, if you ask me. Ton coin. That I believe that. Okay, this time I remember. That is from Telegram, I believe. Yes. Bitcoin Cash. Some people really believe in it. Only thing about Bitcoin Cash that I don't like, I like how fast it is. I like how cheap it is to move. I have utilized it. I've actually used Bitcoin Cash for a good while. When BitPay delisted XRP, I started using Bitcoin Cash. That's how I found, hey, Bitcoin Cash is fast, it's cheap. It's only problem with Bitcoin Cash, and the same thing I'd say about Ethereum Classic. Yes, they are fast. Yes, they are cheap, but I do not believe that they have enough people validating by running nodes, because there are times where transactions will take forever to complete, and I believe it's because they don't have the node support. Not enough people are running the nodes. I think once the networks get congested, it could leave you waiting days before a transaction. So to me, that's a no-go. Uniswap, you know what that is. Near Protocol Litecoin. It's a legacy coin. At only 7 billion in the market cap, I could definitely 5x. ICP, Insane Clown Posse. Just kidding. Internet computer. Yeah, you can see what that is. Filecoin. Filecoin is, if they market it right, Filecoin is one of those ones that does have utility. There's Ethereum Classic I was talking about. Stablecoin Cosmos. Cosmos is, I like Cosmos at 5 billion market cap. Last all-time high, I remember Cosmos got to about $40. Right now it's at $13.60. It's up 8% for the week. And the good thing about Cosmos is it stakes. And I've been staking Cosmos. I've held Cosmos since it was 86 cents. It's one of those coins I didn't get off of last bull run because it does take 21 days to unstake, and the market crashed so suddenly, much sooner than I expected it to last time. So therefore, I kind of got stuck with the Cosmos. But seeing that I got most of my Cosmos at 86 cents and it does stake at 22%, I think maybe 19% right now. Yeah. So I mean, it's a double. It's a double bag. When it's going up in cost, you're making money. When it's going up in value, and the fact that you're getting 20% a year, that means that you're getting more of this asset that is appreciating in value. So yeah, and they're doing a lot of things. Cosmos has some projects going on. They do a lot of things. They help build the Trust Wallet, I believe. Binance Smart Chain, I believe. Atomic Wallet, possibly. They help with interoperability, which is very important. Chainlink is a oracle, which is very important as well. It links information to data feeds on and off chain. I believe, don't quote me on this, CoinMarketCap may use Chainlink or oracles for price data feeds. Think of an oracle, for those who don't know, as like, for instance, you're watching a ball game, watching a basketball game, you're watching a football game, watching a soccer game, whatever. You're looking at the stock market on TV. You're looking at CNN, and you see news feed information scrolling at the bottom. You see price feeds. You see scores of other games around the league. Oracle is what they get, is where they get the information from. An Oracle data feed that is given that information in real time. That's basically what Chainlink does. I'm not saying Chainlink does it for those companies. I'm saying an Oracle does it, and that's what Chainlink is. Stacks. Here we go. Stacks. Woo! Look at this. Right now, I'm staking stacks for 9%. My stacks that I hold create 9% of my balance is converted into Bitcoin by way of kind of like dividends. Plus, they have the city coins on stacks for New York and Miami, which both of those mayors get paid their salary in part in Bitcoin. So right now it's at 333. Look at this. It's creeping up to a $5 billion market cap. I think, and I might be a little bit biased, hopeful, and optimistic. I think that we could see $100 billion market cap in stacks, which would be a 20x from here. I say that because if Bitcoin is going up, and it is definitely going up, and especially for Bitcoin maxis who don't really like the idea of all these NFTs and this and that, as far as like the fact that Bitcoin doesn't have them and that other people are looking at these other blockchains because they do have it. Well, now Bitcoin has it. Now Bitcoin has NFTs. Now it's possible to mint real world assets on the Bitcoin blockchain. DeFi on Bitcoin has become a lot easier. And Stacks has in part made it possible. So I think that, as Bitcoin starts to mount up, I think Stacks will also do the same. Shout out to me for getting that Stacks at sub $1. And for those who I know who got it even cheaper than that. But yeah, I think Stacks is going to be something that, Stacks is like the Polygon of Bitcoin. Except for Stacks doesn't really make the transactions cheaper, but Stacks transactions aren't, they're kind of like Bitcoin. Depends on the time of day, how the market is when you're trying to do a transaction. But typically, if you find a good sweet spot, it's not too cheap. Optimism, of course, that's some second layer Coinbase Ethereum type of thing. Anyway, I don't want to be too long. I know I already said that before, but I do want to get out of here. I just wanted to see how high this market's gonna go, man. Anyway, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. Hit me up at CryptTalkPodcast@gmail.com for inquiries, or if you have some news to share or something of that nature. It's going to be hard for me to really do. Oh yeah, another thing that I am doing is I am retroactively uploading some of my past broadcasts that I did on CryptTalk Podcast. Even though you could always go and click and get the Odysee link and see all the videos that I did on CryptTalk Podcast before my channel was taken down. But I'm gonna retroactively add some of them because I think it just adds a little bit more context and maybe confidence to people who are watching this to see that, I'm not just guessing my way through this. Some of these things I've been saying for a long time are now starting to come to fruition, et cetera, et cetera. So I will be retroactively uploading some videos from the past here and there. It's going to be hard for me to really get to, right now I'm working a lot. So I'm trying to stack up. I mean, this bull run right now is everything. And I'm trying to stack it up so I can sit down, so I can kick back. So that's me right now. Yeah, you could follow me on on Twitter at CryptTalkP. You can join Blockchain Crypto Gang on Facebook. Blah blah. Appreciate y'all watching. Have a good day. Bitcoin to the moon. Blockchain Crypto Gang. Do your thing. Peace.